Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our webinar today on team success, mindset and behavior. So my name is Leila, and I am joined by Osama today, and we are very excited to be with you today to discuss about setting your team up for success, behavior, mindset, and values. Before to get started, a quick introduction about us and why we are here together. As I said, my name is Leila. I am a certified coach specialized in self-leadership and career development. I have created ALE Growth last year to help professionals and team members to achieve their objectives by influencing their own thinking, emotions, and actions. And to make a long story short, last year when I was developing my team performance coaching program, I had a chance to meet with Osama, and I was very impressed with his approach and digital solutions. So that's why we decided to collaborate and to help more organizations to build a high-performing team. So Osama, welcome, and over to you. Can you tell us a few words about you?
Hello, Leila. Thank you so much for having me today as part of your webinar. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. We know everyone is extremely busy nowadays, so we know that 45 minutes to an hour is extremely valuable, and we'll make sure that you get some good insights and reflection at the end of today. My name is Osama Labib. People call me Ous. I have been in Singapore for 10 years. I am French and Moroccan. I am the CEO and founder of ICLIA. We're a learning company based out of Singapore. We work with organizations to help them build agile and high-performing teams at scale. We have developed a few different tools that are extremely engaging, insightful, and that actually help to increase the effectiveness of your team at work. We also work with partners such as Leila in Singapore, so that we can give them access to these tools so that they can bring this to their own clients. I am also a certified team coach. I've been working with teams for the last 5 years. I am also an associate faculty member for the National University of Singapore. And that's a little bit about myself, Leila.
Thank you, Ous. Thank you very much. So can you move to the next slide? So without any transitions, I just would like to give you a brief overview of what to expect from our webinar today. So we will spend together 60 minutes. And before to start, first thing to know is this presentation is recorded and will be shared only with people on this audience. So during this session, we will be covering what we know about high-performance team, how to build high-performance team, and we will also present you a quick teaser about what is behind Mickey Island. And finally, we would like this presentation to be very engaging and participative. So please share your thoughts and also prepare your questions. Get ready for the Q&A live sessions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so before to start, one question for you. In one word, what do you think is the biggest challenge organizations are facing in terms of teamwork? So you will see my head going right and left because I'm just trying to monitor the chat and people who are in the waiting room. So I will give you just a few seconds to share with us what do you think is the biggest challenge organizations are facing when it came to teamwork. Trust, thank you, Samar. Effective communication, thank you, Marine. Collaboration, communication, people development. Trust again. Confidence. Coordination, Bertrand. Okay, great. So let's dive deep in a recent survey done by LinkedIn about the top 5 challenges of teamwork. So the first one is team conflict. The second one, as many of you mentioned, communication. The third challenge, 47% of the respondents say that they have difficulties managing workloads and deadline. 40% are struggling to build trust with their teammates, and 32% mention some challenges related to remote and virtual work. So, Ous, what do you think about this result? And also, can you share with us what do you think are the reasons why teams are facing these challenges?
Thank you, Leila. Thank you, everyone, for your contribution on the chat. This is what I would like to start with. When we talk about high-performing teams, when we talk about a high-performing organization, it seems very obvious the reason why we're trying to achieve it, so that companies can achieve better results, which means increased revenue, business profitability, customer satisfaction, speed to market, team autonomy, and a lot of other results. One of the challenge is, and you can take an example of a sales team, for instance. Very often when the sales team doesn't achieve the results, they're going to have a meeting, you know, in their weekly meeting, and they're going to have the sales manager that tells them about, you know, the upcoming quarter, what is it that we need to do so that we can achieve the results. And you can see a lot of organizations, especially in the digital and tech space, that are investing a lot in terms of tools and processes. And we have seen, you know, tools like Slack, Microsoft Teams, Workday, Monday.com flourish, because we think that just by giving access to these tools and processes, this will help our teams and our team members to collaborate better. What is really interesting to find is that everything you have shared on the chat, trust, vulnerability, confidence, engagement, alignment, nothing has to do with tools and processes. The most important element is about finding the right mindsets and having the right behaviors within your team so that you can deliver these results. So when you have a sales team that doesn't achieve their goal, you can invest, and of course they need to have a good CRM, whether it's HubSpot or anything else. But the question as well is, how are they sharing information? Are they collaborative or are they competitive between themselves? And these are the things that you as a team leader, you as the CEO of your organization can think of so that you can really ensure everyone and every team in your organization can help achieve the desired results that you want, Leila.
Okay, so that's very clear. So just to recap what you said. So if I understand well, mindset and behavior have a huge impact on growth, revenue, and profitability. So do you have any evidence or example of that?
Yes, it's a good question. Before I just want to paint a little bit of a picture of what has happened in organization for the last, let's say, 15 to 20 years. We used to have organizations that work as machines. What we mean by that is you have, you know, the senior management and leadership team with a very top-down hierarchy, a lot of bureaucracy. And what we found is that a lot of organizations that used to work or are still working like this will have challenges in terms of working in silo. That's one of the biggest challenges that organizations face. What we see today is that organizations are transforming themselves into organisms. The reason behind this is maybe you heard about the word being VUCA, you know, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. We can't have a top-down hierarchy. It would take too much time to deliver on the results that we want. So the question is, how can we ensure our teams are able to deliver very quick changes, are extremely flexible in how we allocate the resources, how we can ensure that, you know, leadership is not a few people within the organization at the top, but shared across the entire organization. How do we ensure that on top of leadership, we have something called followership? What's the role of the team members in making teams becoming high-performing teams? And that's a little bit the big picture about what are the changes that are happening in organization right now. Now, it's a really good question that you mentioned, you know, high-performing team, is it just a myth, or is there some real business benefits to it? Well, the good thing is, you don't have to trust me, you don't have to trust Leila. We actually have a research partner called GDQ Associate. This is a leading research organization that has 30 years of research and development around high-performing organization. They have actually worked with leading companies such as Spotify, IKEA, Ericsson, scaling high-performing organization and high-performing teams. And these are some of the things that they found. When you have high-performing teams within your organization, you will have more satisfied customers and managers. Everyone is talking about mental health, and this is becoming a huge issue in Singapore specifically. But when you have a high-performing team, stage 4 high-performing team, you will feel that you have members that experience a higher level of work satisfaction and a lower level of emotional exhaustion. And when you think about tech companies as well, the war for talent is extremely tough for them. A key component for a lot of organizations is how do we retain our high performers, our new or young generation of talents. Well, by having stage 4 teams, if they are a little bit more satisfied in their work, the likelihood of them staying with the organization is going to be higher. If you're working in the manufacturing industry, we can see that having stage 4 teams will allow you to produce more goods. If you're in the financial sector, you will manage money a little bit better. Everyone is going into digital transformation, agile ways of working. Well, if you have stage 4 teams, we see that your organization will have a greater ability to adopt agile ways of working. So again, there are some real business benefits to building high-performing teams at scales in your organization. It's not just about, let's make the work a little bit more engaging and fun for everyone. No, if you have more high-performing team in your organization, you will have better results for yourself, for the management and the leadership team, and for your customers and for your shareholders as well, Leila.
Very clear. Thank you very much, Ous. So now that we understand, the importance of mindset, habits, and behavior on the performance of companies, can you share with us the secret sauce of high-performing team? Yes,
I can share some example about this. I think I have a good news and the bad news. The bad news is, unfortunately, there's no magic pill that anyone can take and suddenly just like this you have a high-performing team in your organization. The good news is there are methodologies, tools, and processes that can help you implement the right behavior, the right mindset within your team so that you can get the desired results that you want. When we talk about high-performing team, what exactly do we mean by this? It's always very important to define that. From our research partner, we know that there are 10 components of high-performing teams that you can see here on the presentation. I won't talk about all of these elements. A lot of them kind of make sense. Being aligned on the goals, for instance, having some evaluation and checking on where we are and how do we improve, having a quick and agile decision making. All of this makes sense. There's a couple of elements I really want to talk about. The first one is interdependency. And I think what is interesting to understand behind this is actually what is the difference between a group and a team. And maybe I'll ask the chat. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? If you want to let us know in the chat, what do you think is the difference between a group and a team?
Great question.
Let's see if we have any.
Kate, say trust. Thank you, Kate.
All right, team should have a shared common goals, alignment to a common goal, think as one, team is working for a higher purpose. Great, thank you for all of this. Bertrand, interdependency, very good. Team have a common purpose, team have the same interest. A group of people can actually have a shared goal. The key difference is, as you say, Bertrand, interdependency. If you have 5 people within your team, if all of them are actually working in silo so that the team achieves their goal, then you have a group. The key difference of interdependency is if you have 5 people, how much do they rely on each other? If we are in the same team, Leila, do I need you so that I can do my job better? Does Bertrand need me so that he can achieve his goal? And if all of us are working together, if all of us are interdependent, then we can call ourselves a team. And that's one of the key differences between a group and a team. So maybe for you to think of in your own organization, in the reality of your workplace, think about how interdependent are all of your team members, and what is it that you can do to improve this interdependency. Now, when you improve interdependency, there's going to be some pros and some cons. Some challenges that will come with this is what you can see at the bottom right-hand corner, which is conflict management. If suddenly I need you to do my job, Leila, then I will push you a little bit, and you will push me, and some of the team will go and find themselves in conflict management. The good thing is conflict can actually be extremely healthy. I will even go as far to say that conflict is necessary for you and your group to become a high-performing team. Because those 10 elements of high-performing team, this is not something that you get in a month or in a couple of months. This is really a dynamic process. And so we can put that into perspective with what we call the 4 stages of team development. What we know is that every team necessarily will find themselves in one of these 4 stages. Stage 1 is dependency of inclusion. Stage 2 is counter-dependency in fighting, trust and structure, and then work and productivity. A team that meets all of the 10 components that we have just seen right now, most probably will be a stage 3 or stage 4 team. But this is not where you start. You will start in stage 1. And again, talking about the importance of managing conflicts in a healthy way, especially in Asia, this is a necessary step so that you can move towards trust and structure. So let me go a little bit into the four stages of team development, giving you some more understanding about what they are. I will ask you something in the chat as well. As I'm describing these 4 stages of team development, I would like you to think of the team you are part of in your work, or maybe a team you have been a part of in your past life, and think about, where is this team? Is this a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4 team? Knowing that, there's no right and wrong answer. When we work with organization, it's less about understanding where you are right now. It's important as a diagnostic and a starting point. What is even more important is, what is your ambition? Where are you going to be in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year time? And so starting in stage 1 is absolutely normal. So what exactly is stage 1 of dependency and inclusion? This is maybe a team that has just been set up, new team members, newly hired team members, a new leader in the team. What do you see in terms of behaviors and attitude in a stage 1 team? When you have goals and roles that are unclear, there's a little bit of lack of structure and organization. Everyone is extremely dependent on the leader, for instance. There's no open conflict. And this one is really interesting, because sometimes we work with teams where everything seems well on the surface, and people and team leaders think, we have a high-performing team because we don't have conflict. No, but are people safe enough to disagree with each other? That's the real question behind this. So this is what a stage 1 team look like. You as a leader, what can you do? When you have a stage 1 team, the important thing is to really create a psychologically safe environment. You should be making sure that everyone is aligned on the goal, not just aligned, but involved in the decision-making process and of defining the goals, and really developing a structure in the sense of safety. Paul, yes, it's a little bit like the honeymoon period, if you want. Everything's look fine, but we haven't really got into the gist and the everyday of living with your life or your husband. Now, when you get into this, and when you get after this honeymoon period, you will get into stage 2, which is counter-dependency and fighting. So as we are feeling a little bit more safe with each other, as we are getting clearer, or at least we're starting to talk about what is the team values, what is the team goal, what is the team ambition, when you will start to see counter-dependency and fighting, which means that people will start to challenge each other and challenge the leader. You will have dissatisfaction, competition between team members. Every time I see a team that is in stage 2, I tell them the most important thing is this is something to celebrate because you're no longer in stage 1. Now, you don't want to stay in stage 2 for too long, because if you get there for too long, it's going to be counterproductive. So first, let's celebrate the fact that you're no longer in stage 1 and you have moved into stage 2. Now, the next question is, how do we move very, very quickly out of this stage 2? Because it's draining, it's tiring to be in conflict or in disagreement with other people. What can you do as a leader? Encourage task-oriented conflicts. It's okay for team members to disagree about the way forward, about what is at stake here, what is our way forward. What is not okay is to disagree on individuals, personalities, for instance. That is not some kind of disagreements or conflict that we should have in the team. So make sure that every kind of conflict is a task-oriented conflict. You ensure that team members avoid personal conflict within the team. And then you really work on developing shared values, shared goals, shared roles, and structure. When you're able to do this, you can move into stage 3. Stage 3 of trust and structure. This is where differences are accepted, less threatening. We're clear about how we work together. We're clear about where we're going. We're clear about the different roles within the team. This is where you have a little bit more cohesion and trust. And I think it's a very important element. I saw that in the chat, trust being an element of high-performing team. Trust is really an outcome of working through stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. So when you get to stage 3, this is where you can continue to develop the structure, the role allocation, develop good relationship within all of the team members. If you're able to do this, you will see a team moving to stage 4 of work and productivity. This is the highest level of performance that teams can see. This is where the goal is really clear. You have subgroups within your team. The leadership is shared, not just with the team leader, but every member in the team has some accountability on what is being done. The group is highly cohesive. I think there's some elements on the last point that is really important. The group norm has a norm, or the group, sorry, has a norm of high performance and quality. We want to achieve the best possible for our team and for our organization. So this is what a stage 4 team looks like, for instance. So you have an idea of the 4 stages of team development. I saw an element or someone in the chat, I think it was you, Saida, saying that you just set up your team 6 months ago and they are between stage 2 and stage 3. And when you add a new team member, you might have some setback. Absolutely. You can go back, and every time there is a big change to your team, whether it's an external change or internal change, the team will go back to stage 1. But if all of your team members, and if you yourself understand this methodology and have a consistent process to go through stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4, instead of taking a year, for instance, to get to stage 4, you will be able to kind of accelerate the developmental process of your team. So these are this is a high-level definition and description of the 4 stages of team development, Leila.
Thank you very much, Ous. It's very clear, and thank you for the great reminder about the 4 stages of team development. So my question here is, it looks very easy and very detailed, but I don't think it's the case, to be honest. I don't think it's very easy to move from stage 1 to stage 4. So what are the obstacles that companies are facing in order to move from stage 1 to stage 4?
Yeah, there's a few different challenges, Leila, and thank you for the question. I want to say it's like everything. It's really understand all of this intellectually, right? In our mind, yeah, all of this makes sense. I can see that. It doesn't look difficult. Where is the challenge? Well, the challenge is actually making it happen. When you have a lot of other competing priorities and deadlines, and the other thing is, it takes actually a lot of time. I have seen in my last 5 years very, very little stage 3 and stage 4 team. And it can take between a year to 18 months to actually achieve a stage 4 team. Stage 4 team meaning this is where the team will be the most productive. Now think about you as a CEO, as a leader. Can you afford 12 to 18 months of unproductive behaviors within your team, especially with the context that we have right now with recession? So the challenge is, one, understanding how to implement all of this and get away from stage 2 where most of the team gets stuck. The second is, and this is really the secret sauce, how can you accelerate this process so that when you have a new team leader, when you have new teams in your organization, how can they get to stage 3 in 6 months, in 9 months, half the time to productivity? And this is the real question behind all of this, Leila.
Okay, that's very clear. So how can you accelerate the process?
Let me share a few more elements. I always like to start by what's not working, because high performing team is not something that came up 3 to 5 years ago. It's something that's been there for forever. What we know is traditional learning methods, traditional leadership programs are not working well in terms of learning effectiveness. You can see a few things, but people invest sometimes in very traditional training where you have a keynote speaker coming. They try to implement MOOCs or e-learning program. They try to share some reading, video, podcast. Unfortunately, the learning effectiveness of this program is not high enough. So just by doing this won't help you get there if you want. Won't help you bring and scale high-performing team in your organization. Our approach together with Leila is to say, okay, how can we give to our clients the best of all worlds? By this, we mean, how can we make sure that we have something that is highly experiential? So people need to understand what it feels like to be part of a stage 4 high-performing team, because unfortunately, a lot of people have never been part of one. It's important that everything is really anchored around behavior science. That we need to be sure about on what we're doing and our process and methodology so that we can deliver high return on investment, and really leveraging the power of technology and data. And so all of the tools that we have, all of the tools that we use in our team coaching and team intervention together with Leila are based on these 4 different pillars. The last one is collective intelligence. That is maybe the most important one. The fact that when we work with organization, we work with everyone within the team. It's not just about the team leader. It's not just about the management and leadership team. It's not just about the team member. It's about understanding what is it that the entire team can work on. How can you foster or really unleash the collective intelligence within your team? And this is what we've been able to do. So instead of just giving you more theoretical knowledge, I will share some business cases with you. We have been able to do that with a lot of organizations in Singapore, in Asia, across different industry, whether it's in the financial sector, tech companies, banking, and we have done it on different levels. One was working with the Microsoft operation team. So they were scattered across Asia. That was just after COVID. They had spent a couple of years working behind the desk, and they didn't have any kind of a social relationship with everyone else within the team. And so when they got out of COVID, we got in touch with Anne from Microsoft. And she told us that she had this extremely high ambition for the team, and she needed everyone to be 100% aligned and focused behind the goal and targets that they wanted to achieve. So we used Mickey Island, which is an experiential learning program that I'm going to share a little bit more later on, to really make sure that people can understand what exactly are the behaviors and mindsets that stage 4 team have. What exactly does it feel like? And once they have experienced that in Mickey Island, in our training program, then we help them to kind of create an action plan so that they can apply the learnings from the experience into the everyday ways of working. So this was really to kind of set up the condition of success for and to take over and build a high-performing team within Microsoft. We also work with teams like your team side up, for instance. You have a new team leader, they are setting up a new team, and they really want to accelerate the developmental process so that they can achieve a high level of performance. Instead of taking a year, they only have 3 months or 6 months because they have a bit of ego, they have their job at stake, they just need to deliver results. And this is something that we've done with Hippies, which is a consulting company. We have worked with the management and leadership team within the first 3 months to really set them up for success. We have seen some amazing results. They have been able to achieve stage 3 of a high-performing team within the first 100 days. This is just another example where we have worked with a tech companies where the topic was not just about high-performing team, but agility as well. And so that's what we've done with multi-teams within Skyline Communication. I see we have a question on the chat, Bertrand, where now it's talking more about developing agility, shifting to growth mindset across team members, and how to influence and foster the shift from people having a fixed mindset. Yes and no. There is a direct correlation between agility in practice, which is a key priority for a lot of organizations, and high-performing teams. And the two work kind of hand in hand. So all of the companies that you see right now and a lot of the clients, sometimes we work with them on both agility and high-performing content. Sometimes it's only focused on high performance. That's pretty much about the different business cases, Leila.
Okay, so let's move to the fun part. So can you tell us what is the how these companies achieve these results, and tell us more about Mickey Island?
Yes, so one of the key elements of our journey is really to let people co-design the journey they want to take with their team, engage everyone, not just the team leader, but every team member as part of the developmental journey for the team to become high performing. And as I said a little bit earlier, make sure everyone understands what it feels like to be part of a stage 4 team, because unfortunately, a lot of people in organization have never been a part of. And so in order to do this, we use Mickey Island. This really allows participants to practice and learn about what are the behaviors and mindset of agile and high-performing team. How does it work? It's a digital and collaborative tool. So one of the biggest elements and biggest benefits of using something like Mickey Island is that people are extremely open and safe when they get into the experience. So we don't start with a team by asking them, what's working, what's not working in your reality, because especially in Asia, when you do this, you have a big silence. No one wants to say anything. I don't know you, Leila. I'm not sure I can say anything about us as a team. So that's why we use Mickey Island to create this very safe environment. How does it work? We put people into this experience where they will have to work as a team to survive throughout this experience, throughout Mickey Island. The plane crashed on Mickey Island. They have to manage resources. They have to make decisions. The landscape of the island is going to change. And this is not just a game. This is an experience that we have designed with our research partner. And there is a direct correlation between what happens in Mickey Island and what happens in your workplace. And this is maybe the most important. Within Mickey Island, you will have functional roles in your team. And there is a high interdependency of all of the team members. You will need to be aligned on a common vision and share goals. You will need to communicate and collaborate effectively. You will need to ensure an agile decision-making process. And your performance in Mickey Island, your score in the game, will directly be connected to your ability to become a stage 3 and stage 4 team. And so what it allows us, us, Leila or myself, for instance, to coach the teams, not based on hearsay and what we think is happening in the workplace, but based on what we have observed in the experience. And this is an extremely powerful tool if you want to use it as kind of a kickoff. We use that very often at the beginning of the financial year with organizations that want to create a high-performing team, high-performing organization. So we use Mickey Island to make sure it's a fun and engaging journey, but it sets the right kind of a direction for the team. We also use that as part of our team coaching journey. And when we do that, we complement this together with a team assessment that actually tells us, where is your team right now? Are we working with a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4 team? And what are the key challenges that your team should be working on? Because another very important element is to understand that if you have a stage 1 team, you're not going to work in the same way that if you have a stage 2 or stage 3 team. So really making sure there's a clear diagnostic at the outset, complemented with a fun and engaging journey, for instance, and a program like Mickey Island to let people experience what it's like and not just read it on slide is extremely important to accelerate the process, Leila.
Okay, Ous, it's really a fun and engaging experience to practice and learn the behavior of success. So do you think we have a few minutes just to show us
yes,
a preview of the
let me just
session? I think we still have a few minutes before to move to the Q&A.
Yes, can you see it in the screen, Leila?
Yeah.
All right, so this is just to show you a little bit the way it works on our platform. So as I was saying, we basically tell a story to people, and the story is highly fun and engaging, where they're celebrating. The CEO is sending them for a 3-day 2-night retreat to Hawaii, and they're very excited. They're thinking about the mojito they're gonna get at the Four Seasons Maui Resort. They take the plane, they cross over the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and unfortunately, as they're flying over Mickey Island, unfortunately, the plane is going to have an engine failure, and what could have been a great 3-day 2-night retreat is going to transform into a survivor journey. So we basically set the scene for a fun and engaging experience for everyone. We explain to them how the experience is going to work. And then we get them into the experience, Mickey Island, where they will have to select different characters. So here you can see I'm the adventurer, but you have a communicator, you have a data scientist, you have different roles. And what we have done is that the different roles in the experience are extremely aligned to the type of roles you have in your organization. How do we create this interdependency? Well, everyone will have what we call a profile information sheet. So this is how we make sure that this cannot become a one-man or one-woman journey. Everyone will have to share information and collaborate effectively so that they can make effective decisions in the experience. So they just select the team name, and when they're ready, they can launch the game. So they start on the left-hand side. This represents the team, and the way it works is you have people at the table, or you can do it virtually in a Zoom context or WebEx or whatever tool you're using. They will have to share information, manage food and resources, and their journey starts from the plane crash location, and they have to get to the location 53 in 1 hour or 29 days, because a tsunami is going to come to the island. And if they're not able to get to the location 53 within the right amount of time, unfortunately, they will die in Mickey Island. How do they play? Whenever they have decided on where the next place to go, they just click and they confirm and they can move. So it seems like a very, very kind of simple experience. Now, the challenge is a lot of things will happen in the experience. They will lose food and resources along the way. Some location that they want to go to are no longer going to be accessible. So this is how we recreated a VUCA environment. So this is how you learn about agile ways of working, to echo Bertrand's comments. The challenge, as you can see, we're not talking about AI, VR here. The challenge is not about the gameplay. The challenge is when you put 5, 6, 7, 10 people in Mickey Island, they will go through necessarily the 4 stages of team development. The first thing that they will talk about is, guys, girls, what is our ambition? Do we play to win? Do we play to survive? And very quickly, they will start to disagree about, should we go north? Should we go south? How many resources are we going to get? And if they get stuck in stage 2, well, they're going to die in Mickey Island. And if they're able to overcome this stage 2 and get a little bit of trust within the team and structuring the decision-making process, they're going to be able to get to the location 53 and perform in the experience. So this is what we do when we use Mickey Island. Again, it allows you to practice the behaviors of agile and high-performing team, stage 3 and stage 4 team. The most important being that it's not about the experience itself. After this experience, we actually allow people to have what we call a debrief conversation. And in this debrief conversation, we allow people to learn about what happened in the experience. And most importantly, how can they apply the learnings back into the workplace, create an action plan so that they can become a high-performing team, not just in Mickey Island, but in the organization, Leila.
Yeah, absolutely. And beyond, playing the game and also, finding the right way, you feel also the emotions and the overwhelm about managing the resources. So yeah, absolutely. And what is very important, as you mentioned, is the debriefing and also the action plan that will come after the experience. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ous. So we have time for Q&A. So while you are sending us your questions, we are going to share with you how we can work together, how we can help you. Ous, yes. So there is 3 ways to work with you and help you improve your performance. So the first option, as Ous said, individual coaching. It's could be coaching for managers or for team members. The second option is team coaching, and it is very related to Mickey Island experience. We do together the team assessment. We decide on the action plan, on the objectives. We set together the objectives, and then we work on an action plan for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. And the third option is team building activity. So it could be a half day or 1 full day where we work with you and your team and to live the Mickey Island experience and to play, to learn and practice the behaviors and the values of success. Okay, so let's see if we have some questions here. Okay, first questions from Alex. Can you see it, Ous?
Yes, Alexandre is asking about what happens after the experience. Well, Mickey Island is extremely powerful. Now, the reality is that just going through Mickey Island itself is not going to help you achieve a stage 3 and stage 4 team. So it's really great that you're already thinking about the next steps. The most important is, how do you make sure that you have a consistent way of working with your team throughout all of the 4 stages? So depending on where is your team, whether it's a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4, that will help you to identify what is it that you should work on. So for instance, if you have a stage 1 team, then we would recommend that you focus on building a psychologically safe environment within your team for the next 3 months and really defining a clear goal for your team. If you have a stage 2 team that is stuck in conflict, then after Mickey Island, you should be focusing on effective communication, non-conflict communication within your team. So how do you give the right level of feedback? How do you make sure that there's non-violent communication with your team? So these are the different things that you can consider. The most important is making sure that it becomes part of your weekly kind of ways of working within your organization and within your team, Alexandre.
Okay, next question from Saida. What is the ideal team size for this experience? Do you have any limitation? Great question.
We have done Mickey Island with 4 people. We have done Mickey Island for IBM for 400 people. So I would say there's very, very little limitation. We work with 5 to 10 people in one Mickey Allen experience, but you can have concurrently a lot of teams going through the experience. So there's very, very limited constraint from that perspective. Saida, you can do it face to face, you can do it digitally as well.
Thank you. Questions from Paul. What happens when a new team member joins?
Does she or he have to play the game with the other team members? If so, when the other team member get bored of doing it twice? Yeah, absolutely. The idea is not to do it again. If you have a new team member, this person will not have to play the game. What's the difference? The other team member can take responsibility for sharing the learnings, because the most important, again, is not Mickey Allen. The most important is everyone understanding what are the 4 stages of team development, be able to recognize it, and knowing what is it that I can do to help my team get through stage 1 to 2 to 3 and 4. And so if we are in one team and we have a new, and Leila is a new team member, and I'm part of it, then I can take 30 minutes to share with her, the learnings, the 4 stages of team development. Where are we? What is it that we're working on as a team? And that will kind of help, how do I say, help her bring her up to speed, with the kind of knowledge about what is required from every team member to become successful, and again, not stay too long in stage 1 and stage 2, Paul. Absolutely. Mickey Allen is the framework behind it is the 4 stages of team development. Mickey Allen is just a tool for everyone to allow and experience the 4 stages of team development and start to have some conversation about what's working, what's not working. The good thing is to build on this, Paul. And again, I'm going to localize it to Singapore and to Asia. If you ask a team what's working, what's not working, again, most probably you're going to have a dead silence in the room. What we see is that the teams will have the exact same challenges in Mickey Allen that they have in the workplace. So by actually helping them go through the experience, they will work through their everyday challenges in a very unconscious way. So the framework behind it is the 4 stages of team development. Mickey Allen is just a tool to help them kind of work and workshop what is it that they can do to accelerate the developmental process.
We have another question from Alexandre. After the experience, you can help identifying what is the best type of coaching my team needs, right?
Absolutely. So when we work with teams together with Leila, especially on 3 to 6 months, we're able to provide some specific guidance and recommendation to the team leaders on what is it that they should work on, what are the key challenges of their team. We also help you kind of adjust your leadership style to better match the maturity level of your team. So these are all of the elements that you kind of get out of the services and solution that we can provide you with. Bertrand is having an extremely interesting question, which is a different approach for kind of functional team and project-based cross-functional teams. I'm just going to focus on project-based team versus functional teams. The main difference with a project team is that you are together for a limited amount of time, which is the end of the project and whatever project is, and the constraints you're operating within are a little bit more defined than a functional team. It also means that sometimes you have less time to allow the team to go through the 4 stages of team development. You as a leader, you can be much more directive with your project teams so that they can achieve the result desired. So it really depends on the context and on the industry. But overall, even a project team will go through the 4 stages of team development. And again, having knowledge about this for yourself as a leader, for your team members, will help you get there in a shorter amount of time.
Okay, so I've got very interesting questions, I think asked also by many clients on direct message. Who is responsible in building high-performance team in an organization? And how do you work on a team that have different type of roles, from senior to junior person?
So I want to say that for you to build high-performing teams at scale, everyone needs to share this responsibility. It starts with the top, right? So what is the ambition of the CEO and of the senior management and leadership team? It is also the team leader responsibility in making sure that the team works through the 4 stages of team development. Now, there is another element which is called followership. If only the team leader wants the team to become high performing and is working proactively on this, the team is never going to get there. And that's why individual leadership programs are not working. The question becomes, how do we empower everyone within the team to take responsibility for it? And so when you have these 3 elements, when you have the right environment and structure on an organizational level, when you have the commitment from the team leader to actively work on it, and when everyone within the team move into this followership role and take responsibility for making it happen, then you can become a high-performing team. But you need a little bit these 3 stars to be aligned so that you can deliver and you can become, or you can build high-performing teams at scale in your organization.
Okay, thank you, Ous. We still have time for one last question, and it is a great question from Norbert. Does your methodology apply to an horizontal organization, teams that are more project-oriented than to functional teams?
Absolutely. It's very similar, and project teams will go through the same thing. They need to be extremely clear and aligned on the goal of the project, the ambitions, and how are they going to make decisions. Most probably they will disagree on what's the right way forward and what's the roadmap. And the faster you get to stage 3 of trust and structure, clear decision-making, alignment on the goal, the faster you will be, or the higher the likelihood for you to deliver on your project, in time and on budget, for instance. So this is a methodology that works as much for functional team as it does for project teams.
Thank you, Ous. Please keep your questions coming via email or through LinkedIn. We don't want to run over time. Thank you all so much for attending this webinar. I hope you found it valuable and informative. Before to leave you, just to recap, as we have seen, having a high-performing team should not be a long and painful process. If you build a team with a right mindset and values, success will follow. Second, as a next step, please feel free to reach out to attend a demo of Mickey Island, or if you want us to do a team performance assessment. And finally, thank you again for your time and your engagements on the chat, and have a wonderful end of day. See you soon. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Ous.
Thank you, everyone.